For a sweeter twist on a classic recipe, you should try this cocktail right here. Let me show you how to make a Marsala Manhattan. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt, I'm the Whiskey Nerd, and like I said, today I'm making a fruity, sweet little twist on a classic recipe. I'm making a Marsala Manhattan, and I got the idea for this recipe when I reviewed this whiskey right here. This is the Drumshanbo single pot still Irish whiskey that was aged entirely in Marsala Wine cask. So it is about 7 years old, comes in at 43% alcohol by volume. It's a single pot still Irish whiskey, which means it's quite spicy, has a bit of creaminess to it, but has a lot of like kind of both spicy, oily, black pepper kind of notes that you get in a single pot still whiskey, but it also was aged entirely in a Marsala wine cask for 7 years. So it has this really rich, like sweet contrast to those spicier notes. If you're not familiar with Marsala, you can kind of think of it as like a sherry. Like it's not exactly a sherry, but it is like, it's a fortified wine. It's from Italy. This one here is coming in at 18% alcohol by volume. It's 5 years old, and it's just a nice little like sherry basically, but it's Italian, so it's a little bit different. The wine is different, the temperature, the region is all gonna be a bit different, but it's just, you can think of it like a sherry, but it's not exactly a sherry. But if you haven't had Marsala, that can kind of put you in the right state of mind to say what you think it's like. And I wanted to find recipes that used Marsala wine and whiskey in it, and as anyone would do, I looked up the internet and I found people talking about a Marsala Manhattan, which is essentially a Manhattan cocktail with the vermouth taken out and just swapped out for a Marsala wine. But what they do to kind of keep things a little bit balanced, because that I think is just, I think that would be a bit too heavy because it is quite a sweet, like almost sherried. They do is they go in with 4 dashes of Angostura bitters, which to me sounds like it's a lot, but it might be enough to kind of tame back some of that sweetness from the kind of sherried Marsala, super sweet, super thick notes. And I think that's enough time talking about the cocktail. Let's get to making it. It is going to be a stirred drink, so we're going to get our mixing glass and we're going to pop a nice rock of ice into there before we measure out our ingredients. Kind of like a classic Manhattan. Going to go in with 2 ounces or 60 ml of my Drumshanbo single pot still whiskey that was aged in Marsala casks. If you want to see a review of this, there'll be a link down below. It is a very nice little whiskey that does balance, like I said, those spicy and the kind of sweet, thick notes of the Marsala. So in there with 2 ounces, and then I'm going to go in with 1 ounce of my Marsala wine. Just going in, very simple, keeping it to that classic kind of Manhattan formula. I haven't tried this cocktail yet. I just saw people online talking about it. I said, look, I'd give it a go, see if their balance worked out right, or if I might have any recommendations to improve it. So I am going to go in with the 4 dashes of Angostura that they did recommend. 1, 2, 3, 4 into there. And then we're going to stir this down for about 40-45 seconds, just to get everything nice and mixed, and importantly, nice and cold. Okay, I can feel that this is nicely chilled, so I'm going to get ready to strain it out into a nice little Nick and Nora glass. I'm going to get my glass there, I'm going to pop my strainer up top just to catch that big rock of ice, and just plain and simple, strain it out, just like that, into there. And then for a garnish, I'm just going to go in, kind of classic, keeping it simple, with a single Maraschino Cherry, which obviously has that little bit of the marasca syrup, giving it like a little bit of extra sweetness, a bit of extra kind of sugary note, just into there. Drop it off, a couple of drops of that sugar syrup into there, and that's it. That's plain and simple. A very simple twist on a classic kind of Manhattan. This right here is a Marsala Manhattan. Now real quick before I taste this cocktail, if you're new here, scroll down, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. I put out whiskey reviews every Wednesday, like the review of that Drumshanbo single pot still Marsala cask, and I put out cocktail recipes featuring whiskey like this every Friday. So if you want to see more, make sure you're subscribed, and leave me a note down in the comments below if there are any cocktails you think I should make in future, because I'm always on the hunt for new recipes. But now, let's taste this one. Cheers. It's immediately very like welcoming. Like you do get the nice bit of whiskey, you get the nice bit of the Marsala kind of syrupy, sugary sweetness, and you get the bit of the bitters coming through. But as soon as I swallowed it, I think the bitters took over. I think they were a little bit too sharp. Like the whiskey and the sherry and the Marsala were very kind of balanced, I think, up front, but then on the end, the bitters did take over. So I'm gonna go in for another sip and just see if that's right. Yeah, I think I think 4 dashes of Angostura is too much. I think if it was maybe 3 dashes Ango and 1 dash of orange, that would give you maybe a little bit of a tamer, like you still get those bitter notes, but you just get a little bit of a tamer bite on it, because yeah, the aftertaste is those kind of bitters. It's the bitters is the longest note, rather than being kind of equally balanced. Like up front, the whiskey's there, it's a nice whiskey, nice bit of presence to it. The Marsala is there, a nice bit of creamy, rich, oily, that kind of like thick, syrupy mouthfeel. You get that. And then like it's the bitters at the end. So I think it's a little bit maybe if as you drink it down, you get closer to that cherry, you get closer to that kind of the sugarier, sweeter part down there, maybe it becomes a little bit more balanced. But I think up top, it is, I think I would say, go in with less of the Angostura bitters if you want to make this at home. And that's probably what I'll put in my description below with the full recipe. I'll probably say just 3 dashes Angostura and 1 dash of orange. If you're one of those people who just goes onto the video, scrolls down, gets the recipe and leaves, at least you'll walk away with a better recipe. So that right there is a Marsala Manhattan. Not the biggest winner, not the biggest loser, but I definitely would have some improvements to suggest. So I think I'll pour this back into the mixing glass, throw in a dash of orange bitters, and I'll keep on enjoying it then. But as for now, I'll see you next time. Sláinte.